Disrespect. We all face it. Whether it's a dismissive colleague, a toxic friend, or a stranger who undermines your worth, disrespect is an unavoidable part of life. But here's the truth. How you respond defines who you are. It shapes your future. Today, we dive deep into 8 ways to handle people who don't respect you. Rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. This isn't about quick fixes. It's about reclaiming your power, controlling your reactions, and mastering your mind. If you're ready to stop being a victim of disrespect, listen carefully. Every word matters. Your transformation begins now. Way number 1, master your emotions. Don't react, respond. Let me ask you a question. Who controls your life? Is it you? Or is it every person who dares to disrespect you, insult you, or challenge your worth? Because if you're reacting to every slight, every insult, every moment of disrespect, you're not in control. They are. It's time to change that. It's time to reclaim your power. We live in a world where emotions rule. Someone disrespects you, and your first instinct is to lash out, raise your voice, argue, fight back. You feel the anger rising like a fire, ready to consume you. It's human, it's natural, but it's also weakness. You think that reacting makes you strong? No. Reacting makes you predictable. It makes you vulnerable. It puts your power in the hands of the very person who disrespects you. They push a button and you dance. They insult you and you lose control. But you were not born to be controlled. You were born to lead, to rise, to dominate your own life. And that starts with mastering your emotions. Imagine this. A man named David works tirelessly to earn the respect of his colleagues. He's smart, driven, and passionate about his job. One day in a meeting, his manager dismisses his ideas with a smirk and a dismissive wave of the hand. The room falls silent. Everyone feels the tension. David feels it too. A surge of anger, humiliation, and frustration bubbling up inside him. His fists clench under the table. His heart races. He wants to respond, to defend himself, to fight for his respect. But then he pauses. In that moment, he remembers something powerful. He controls his emotions. His emotions do not control him. David takes a breath. He looks his manager in the eye and with a calm and steady voice says, "I understand you may have a different perspective. I'd be happy to discuss this further and see how we can align on the best approach." No shouting, no argument, just calm, collected composure. And in that moment, the power shifts. You see, David didn't react, he responded. And that made all the difference. His colleagues saw a man who could remain unshaken in the face of disrespect. His manager, expecting an emotional outburst, was left with nothing to exploit. David walked out of that meeting with his dignity intact and the silent respect of everyone in the room. That's the power of mastering your emotions. When you react, you give away your power. Reaction is impulsive, emotional, thoughtless. It's driven by the primitive part of your brain, the part that seeks immediate gratification, that wants to fight back, to defend, to retaliate. But responding is intentional. It's deliberate. It comes from a place of strength, not weakness. It's the result of control, not chaos. When you respond, you take a moment to breathe, to think, to assess the situation. You don't let the disrespect define you. You don't let it dictate your next move. Instead, you choose how to act. You choose how to carry yourself. Now you might be thinking, but it's hard. It's hard to stay calm when someone is attacking you, belittling you, disrespecting you. Yes, it's hard. But nothing worth having comes easy. And self-mastery? That's worth everything. Let me take you back in history to the Roman Empire, to a man named Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest philosophers and emperors of all time. Marcus ruled over a vast and powerful empire, yet he faced constant betrayal, disrespect, and challenges to his authority. But he didn't react with anger. He didn't lash out. Instead, he wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that for a moment. You have power over your mind, no one else. Not the person who disrespects you, not the situation that frustrates you, only you. Marcus Aurelius understood that true strength comes from within. It comes from the ability to remain calm in the face of chaos, to stand tall when others want to see you fall, and you have that same power within you. It starts with awareness. The next time someone disrespects you, pay attention to your body. Your heart will race, your fists may clench, your breath will quicken. That's your body preparing to react. But instead of reacting, pause. Take a deep breath. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds. That single breath creates space between the stimulus and your response. In that space, remind yourself, I am in control. Not them, not the situation, me. Then choose your response. Will it be calm, composed, and strategic? Or will it be emotional, impulsive, and reactive? The choice is yours. And that choice defines your strength. When you master your emotions, you don't just protect yourself, you influence others. People around you will notice your calm in the face of adversity. They will respect your composure. They will see you as a leader, someone who cannot be easily shaken. Your calm becomes a ripple that spreads to those around you. It changes the dynamic of every interaction. It commands respect. And those who continue to disrespect you, they will realize that their words and actions hold no power over you. Because you are untouchable. Disrespect is inevitable, but how you handle it, that's your choice. Will you react, giving away your power, or will you respond, taking control of your life? Remember, you have power over your mind. And with that power, you can face any challenge, any insult, any disrespect with strength, dignity, and composure. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this: you are in control. Always. Way number 2, set boundaries. Teach people how to treat you. Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you could change your life. If you don't set boundaries, clear, firm, unshakable boundaries, you are teaching people that they can walk all over you. You are teaching them that your time, your energy, your very existence is up for grabs. And let me tell you something. If you don't respect yourself enough to set boundaries, don't expect anyone else to respect you either. This isn't a suggestion. This isn't a recommendation. This is a command. Set boundaries. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because every day you delay, every day you let someone cross the line, you lose a piece of yourself. Let me tell you a story. A woman named Sarah, bright, talented, driven, worked at a prestigious company. She was the go-to person for everything. Need help on a project? Ask Sarah. Need someone to stay late? Call Sarah. Need someone to fix a mistake? Sarah will do it. At first it felt good. She was the dependable one, the one everyone could count on. But over time something changed. The praise stopped. The appreciation disappeared. And what was left? Expectation. Entitlement. Sarah's colleagues stopped asking. They simply expected her to be there, to take on the extra work, to fix their problems. And Sarah? She was exhausted. Her personal life was in shambles. Her health was deteriorating. She felt trapped, suffocated by the very role she had willingly stepped into. One day, after yet another late night at the office, she sat alone in the dark and asked herself, "When did I stop mattering?" But here's the truth. It wasn't them. It was her. Sarah had failed to set boundaries. She had taught them that her time was limitless, her energy infinite, her needs irrelevant. Don't be Sarah. Don't wait until you're burned out, resentful, and empty. Set boundaries now. Because boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are doors to let the right people in on your terms. Understand this. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It isn't rude. It isn't mean. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. It's standing tall and declaring to the world, "I know my worth. I value my time, I honor my energy, and I will not allow anyone to diminish it." When you set boundaries, you are saying, "This is who I am. This is what I will accept. And this is where I draw the line. And if someone crosses that line, you enforce the boundary. Firmly, clearly, without hesitation. Because if you don't enforce your boundaries, they are meaningless. One of the most powerful tools in setting boundaries is a simple two-letter word. No. But for so many people, no feels impossible to say. They fear rejection. They fear conflict. They fear being seen as difficult or uncooperative. Let me be clear. No is not a negative word. No is a protective word. No is a powerful word. When you say no, you are not rejecting others. You are protecting yourself. You are protecting your time. You are protecting your energy. You are protecting your peace. And anyone who truly respects you will respect your no. Let's talk about what happens when you don't set boundaries. When you allow people to take advantage of your time, your energy, your kindness, you become a doormat. People will walk all over you without a second thought. They will drain you until there is nothing left. And when you finally break, when you finally collapse under the weight of their demands, they will walk away without a second thought. Is that what you want? To be used? To be taken for granted? To be left empty and broken? Of course not. So stop allowing it. Stop waiting for someone to respect you when you haven't respected yourself. Set the boundary, enforce the boundary, and watch how your life changes. Setting boundaries starts with clarity. You need to know what you will and will not accept. You need to be clear about your limits, emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Ask yourself, what drains my energy? What makes me feel resentful? Where do I feel taken advantage of? These are the areas where you need boundaries. Once you are clear on your boundaries, communicate them. Calmly, clearly. I appreciate your request, but I am unable to help at this time. I need time to recharge. I won't be available after work. I cannot take on additional tasks right now. No excuses, no apologies, just the boundary. And when someone tests that boundary, enforce it, every time. Consistency is key. When you set boundaries, something incredible happens. People start to respect you. They see you as someone who values their time and energy, someone who is not easily swayed or manipulated. And those who don't respect your boundaries, they will fade away. And that's a good thing. Because your life is too precious to be filled with people who don't honor you. Remember this. You teach people how to treat you. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, every time you allow someone to overstep, you are teaching them that your boundaries don't matter. But when you set clear, firm boundaries, you are teaching them something else entirely. You are teaching them that you are not to be taken for granted, that you are not to be disrespected, that you are in control of your life. So stand tall, speak clearly, set the boundary, enforce the boundary, and take back control of your life, because you deserve nothing less. This is your life. Protect it, respect it, and teach others to do the same. Way number 3. Focus on what you can control. Let go of their actions. Life will throw storms at you, wild, unpredictable storms. People will betray you, ignore you, criticize you, and disrespect you. They will lie, they will manipulate, and they will hurt you. And here's the harsh truth. You cannot control them. You can't control their actions. You can't control their choices. You can't control their words, their thoughts, their emotions. But there's one thing, one powerful, unshakable thing you can control. Yourself. Let go of their actions. Let go of their chaos. Focus on what you can control, and only what you can control. Because the moment you stop trying to fight the storm, the moment you turn inward and find your calm, you will discover a strength that no one, not a single person on this planet, can take from you. Let me tell you a story. It's about a man named Marcus. Marcus was a kind, hardworking man who believed in fairness, decency, and honesty. But life wasn't fair to Marcus. His colleagues undermined him at work. His friends took advantage of his generosity. His family criticized him endlessly. And Marcus, he tried to fix it. He bent over backward to win their approval. He worked late nights to prove his worth at the office. He gave and gave to his friends, hoping they would appreciate him. He did everything he could to change how his family saw him. But no matter how hard Marcus tried, nothing changed. His colleagues still took credit for his work. His friends still used him. His family still found fault with him. Marcus was exhausted, broken, and defeated. One night, as he sat alone in his quiet apartment, Marcus asked himself, "Why can't I make them see? Why can't I make them change?" And then it hit him. Because I was never in control of them to begin with. Marcus had spent his entire life trying to control the uncontrollable. He had wasted years, energy, and countless sleepless nights fighting battles that were never his to win. And it's a battle you're fighting too, isn't it? Are you trying to control the way people think about you? Are you trying to control the way they treat you? And what has it brought you? Frustration? Resentment? Pain? It's time to stop. Stop wasting your strength on a battle you cannot win. Let go of their actions, their choices, their words. Focus on the one thing, the only thing you can control. Your response. When you let go of what you cannot control, something incredible happens. You free yourself. You free yourself from the burden of trying to fix everyone else's chaos. You free yourself from the toxic cycle of seeking validation from people who refuse to give it. You free yourself from the weight of disappointment, resentment, and anger. Think about it. Why are you giving so much of your energy to people who don't respect you? Why are you allowing their choices to dictate your happiness? Their actions are theirs. Their chaos is theirs. Their disrespect is theirs. Let it stay with them. When you let go, you reclaim your power. You take back control of your life, your energy, your peace. You are no longer a victim of their actions. You become the master of your own response. Let me tell you about Isabella. Isabella was a young woman with a bright future ahead of her, but she faced constant criticism from her family. "You'll never succeed," they told her. "You're not good enough." At first, Isabella tried to prove them wrong. She worked tirelessly, pushing herself to the brink of exhaustion. But no matter what she achieved, it was never enough for them. One day, Isabella realized something that changed her life. Their opinions don't control my worth. I control my worth. She stopped trying to win their approval. She stopped letting their negativity dictate her happiness. Instead, she focused on what she could control: her mindset, her actions, her choices. And as she let go of their words, she found freedom. She built a life filled with joy, success, and peace. Not because they changed, but because she did. You have that power too. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You don't need their respect to live a life of strength and purpose. Let go of their chaos. Let go of their actions. Focus on what you can control: your mindset, your choices, your response, and watch as your life transforms. Letting go is a practice. It starts with awareness, recognizing what is within your control and what is not. Ask yourself, can I change their actions? No. Can I control their words? No. Can I decide how I respond? Absolutely. Every time you feel anger, frustration, or resentment, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this within my control? If it's not, let it go. Focus on your goals. Focus on your values. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Focus on what you can control. Let go of the rest and take back the power that has always been yours. Way number 4, lead by example. Be the person you demand from others. You've heard it before. Actions speak louder than words. But let me tell you why this isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a life-altering truth. If you want respect, show respect. If you demand loyalty, give loyalty. If you crave honesty, be honest. You cannot expect from others what you refuse to embody yourself. Think about the world we live in. Too often, people demand things they aren't willing to practice. They want others to treat them with kindness but lash out in anger. They demand hard work but shirk their own responsibilities. This hypocrisy is poison. It weakens you, alienates others, and undermines any influence you hope to have. But the reverse, leading by example, that's power. That's leadership. That's how you transform not just your relationships, but your entire life. Let me ask you something. When you look in the mirror, do you see the person you demand from others? Are you the living example of the respect, commitment, and integrity you expect in return? If the answer is no, then it's time to change. Right now, because the longer you wait, the more you lose. Respect, trust, opportunities. Don't fool yourself into thinking this doesn't matter. It matters more than anything. People don't listen to what you say. They watch what you do. Your actions are your loudest words. They set the tone for how others treat you and how they respond to you. If you don't lead by example, don't expect others to follow. Let me tell you a story about a man named James. James was a manager at a mid-sized company. He had a vision of turning his team into the most efficient, successful group in the company. But he had a problem. His team was disengaged, unmotivated, and resentful. Deadlines were missed. Quality was slipping. James tried everything. He held meetings, issued ultimatums, even wrote up a few employees for poor performance. But nothing changed. The team continued to falter, and James grew more frustrated. One day, James's mentor pulled him aside. "James," the mentor said, "look at yourself. You're demanding excellence, but you're not showing it. You come in late, you cut corners, you expect loyalty, but you don't give it. Why should they follow you when you don't live the example you're asking them to emulate?" Those words hit James like a thunderbolt. He realized he had been a hypocrite, expecting from his team what he wasn't willing to give himself. And that's when everything changed. From that day on, James showed up early. He stayed late to help his team finish projects. He stopped blaming and started taking responsibility. He showed respect, even to the employees who had disappointed him. And slowly, something remarkable happened. His team started following his lead. They showed up on time, they went the extra mile. They stopped making excuses and started delivering results. In 6 months, James's team became the highest performing group in the company. Not because he demanded it, but because he showed it. Here's the truth. People mirror what they see. If you're strong, they'll be strong. If you're weak, they'll falter. If you're committed, they'll follow. But if you're hypocritical, they'll tune you out. Leading by example isn't just about influencing others. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. When you embody the values you demand, you gain clarity, confidence, and self-respect. You stop worrying about what others think because your actions speak louder than their opinions. This principle applies everywhere, in your workplace, your relationships, your family, your community. Whether you're a leader, a partner, a parent, or a friend, people are watching you. And if you want to inspire them, you have to show them the way. Leading by example isn't easy. It takes courage to hold yourself to the same high standards you expect from others. It takes discipline to stay consistent, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. But the rewards, they're unparalleled. When you lead by example, you earn trust. People know they can rely on you because your actions match your words. You build influence, not by forcing others, but by inspiring them. And you create a ripple effect, changing not just yourself, but everyone around you. Imagine a world where everyone led by example. A workplace where leaders inspired loyalty by being loyal. A family where parents taught respect by showing respect. A community where honesty, kindness, and accountability weren't just talked about, but lived every day. That's the world you create when you lead by example. You have a choice. You can complain about how others treat you, or you can take responsibility for setting the standard. You can demand respect, or you can show it. You can criticize others for their flaws, or you can work on your own. Remember, leadership isn't about a title. It's about action. It's about integrity. It's about being the person you wish to see in the world. So ask yourself, who do you want to be? The person who talks or the person who acts? The person who blames or the person who inspires? The person who demands or the person who leads? When you lead by example, you don't just change how others treat you. You change how they see themselves. You inspire them to rise to the occasion, to become better, stronger, more committed. And that impact, it lasts far beyond you. Think of the people who have inspired you. Were they perfect? No, but they showed you what was possible. They lived their values. They led with integrity. And they left an indelible mark on your life. Now it's your turn to do the same. Be the person who inspires. Be the person who leads. Be the person who sets the standard. This is your moment. Step up, lead by example. Be the person you demand from others. Because when you do, you don't just change the way people treat you, you change the world. Way number 5, embrace indifference. Their opinion doesn't define you. There is a silent prison that most of us live in, a prison not built of steel bars, but forged from the opinions of others. We allow their words, their glances, their whispers to dictate how we see ourselves. This prison is invisible, but it's powerful. It keeps us stuck, fearful, and diminished. But here's the truth. Their opinion doesn't define you. It never has. It never will. The moment you allow yourself to be swayed, controlled, or diminished by the opinions of others, you hand over your power. You allow them to set the boundaries of your worth. It's time to stop. It's time to reclaim what is yours, your identity, your confidence, your freedom. And the first step is learning to embrace indifference. Indifference is not weakness. It is not passivity. It is strength in its purest form. To embrace indifference means to understand that the opinions of others, whether praise or criticism, do not define who you are. Your value is not determined by their applause, nor is it diminished by their disdain. Does that mean you shouldn't care about feedback or advice? No, constructive criticism can be a tool for growth. But there's a critical distinction between using feedback as a tool and allowing it to become a mirror that distorts your self-image. You must learn to separate who you are from what they think you are. Let's return to Claire. That night after presentation, she lay awake, replaying the scene in her mind. The silence, the judgment, the imagined criticisms. Her inner dialogue was ruthless. I'm not good enough. They think I'm a joke. I'll never recover from this. Weeks passed and Claire began to withdraw. She avoided speaking up in meetings, her confidence shattered. But then she came across a passage from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. She realized that she had given her power away, allowing external opinions to dictate her internal reality. Claire decided that night to reclaim herself. She began to practice indifference. Not by ignoring others, but by recentering her focus on her own values, her own efforts, and her own growth. How did Claire transform her mindset? Claire realized that the opinions of her colleagues were a reflection of their perceptions, not her abilities. She began to set her own standards of success based on preparation, effort, and authenticity. If she met her own standards, that was enough. You must do the same. Ask yourself, what are my values? What are my goals? What matters most to me? Then live by those principles. When you define your own standards, the opinions of others lose their power. After her presentation, Claire interpreted the room's silence as judgment. But was that true? She started asking for constructive feedback instead of assuming the worst. In doing so, she discovered that most of her fears were unfounded. When faced with others' opinions, pause. Separate the facts from your emotional response. Did they criticize your work, or are you projecting insecurity? Did they offer feedback, or are you overanalyzing their tone? Clarity breaks the chains of unnecessary self-doubt. Claire couldn't control her colleagues' reactions, but she could control her preparation, her delivery, and her willingness to learn. By focusing on what she could improve, she shifted her energy from worry to action. Likewise, you cannot control how others perceive you, but you can control your work ethic, your integrity, and your resilience. Let go of what's beyond your control and watch your confidence soar. Let's pause for a moment. Imagine the freedom you would feel if you stopped caring so much about what others think. Imagine walking into a room, speaking your mind, and leaving without replaying every interaction. Imagine the weight lifting from your shoulders as you realize that their judgment is their burden, not yours. That freedom is within your reach, but it requires courage. The courage to accept that not everyone will like you, agree with you, or understand you. And that's okay. Because when you embrace indifference, you unlock your potential. You stop living for them and start living for you. Indifference is not apathy, it's control, it's focus, It's the ability to let go of what doesn't serve you so you can invest in what does. Consider the great leaders, artists, and innovators of history. Do you think they were free from criticism? Far from it. They were ridiculed, doubted, even hated. But they didn't let the opinions of others define them. They stayed true to their vision, their purpose, their values. You must do the same. Whether you're facing rejection, criticism, or indifference, remember this: your worth is not up for debate. It is not something others can grant or take away. It is inherent, unshakable, and yours alone. Months after her fateful presentation, Claire stood in front of the same room. This time, she was prepared, not just with her notes, but with her mindset. She delivered her presentation with confidence, knowing she had done her best. When the room was silent again, she didn't crumble. She stood tall, proud of her effort. Afterward, one of her colleagues approached her. "That was excellent," they said. "You've really grown." Claire smiled, not because of the compliment, but because she no longer needed it. She had already validated herself. This is your moment. Let go of their opinions. Embrace indifference. And leave the rest behind. Because when you do, you don't just free yourself from their judgment, you step into your own power. Their opinion doesn't define you, but your actions, your mindset, your courage, that defines everything. Take control, be unshakable, and move forward with the strength you've always had within you. Way number 6, choose your battles. Not every disrespect deserves a response. Imagine walking through a bustling marketplace, surrounded by the clamor of voices, sights, and sounds. Amid the noise, a stranger shouts something harsh and unkind. You stop, heart pounding, torn between confronting the person or walking away. This moment encapsulates a powerful principle. Not every insult, slight, or disrespect requires your energy or reaction. Life is full of battles, but not all battles are created equal. Some are worth fighting, but most are distractions. Detours that sap your focus, drain your energy, and derail your momentum. To thrive, to succeed, to live with dignity and peace, you must learn to discern. You must choose your battles wisely. This is a hallmark of strength, not weakness, and it is one of the most powerful ways to handle people who do not respect you. Let me tell you a story to illustrate this. There was once a young man named Elias, an ambitious worker at a high-powered marketing firm. Elias was talented and driven, but his career was riddled with one recurring challenge. A colleague named Marcus, who made it his mission to belittle him at every opportunity. Marcus would make snide remarks during meetings, dismiss Elias's ideas, and occasionally spread rumors about his work ethic. Elias felt the sting of these attacks every day. At first, Elias tried to defend himself at every turn. When Marcus insulted him, he snapped back, trading insult for insult. When Marcus undermined his ideas, Elias would interrupt him, sometimes raising his voice to prove a point. It consumed him. Elias spent hours replaying these moments in his head, thinking about what he could have said or should have done differently. But the more Elias fought, the more it seemed to fuel Marcus's behavior. The office environment became toxic, and Elias's focus suffered. One day, after yet another tense exchange, Elias confided in his mentor, an older man named Victor, who had been in the industry for decades. Victor listened patiently, then leaned back and said, "Elias, do you know why Marcus gets under your skin?" "Because he disrespects me," Elias replied, his frustration evident. "No," Victor said firmly, "because you let him." You give him your power every time you react. Marcus thrives on your response. Stop giving him what he wants. Victor continued, in life, not every battle is worth fighting. You're pouring energy into someone who doesn't deserve it. Focus on your goals, your work, your growth. Let your success be the loudest answer you give. Fight battles that matter. Leave the rest behind. What Victor taught Elias, and what we must all learn, is that our energy, time, and attention are finite. You cannot fight every battle, nor should you. Every time you engage in a petty squabble, defend yourself against trivial insults, or retaliate against disrespect, you're diverting resources from the things that truly matter. Your growth, your success, and your peace of mind. Disrespect is inevitable. Some people will belittle you because they feel insecure. Others will try to provoke you because they crave drama. Some may even target you simply because they're envious of your potential. But here's the truth. Their actions say more about them than they do about you. Your response, however, says everything about you. Reacting to every slight or insult is like trying to put out fires in a forest during a storm. It's exhausting, and it doesn't solve the root problem. True strength lies in restraint. It lies in knowing which fires to extinguish and which to let burn out on their own. Every time you engage with someone's disrespect, you're paying a cost. That cost might be your mental clarity, your emotional peace, or even your reputation. Think about how much energy it takes to craft the perfect comeback, how much time you waste replaying an argument, how much stress builds up when you let someone else dictate your emotions. Now ask yourself, is it worth it? Is this person's opinion, this moment of disrespect, worth sacrificing your well-being? When you focus on every slight, you become reactive. You're no longer in control of your life or emotions. You're letting others dictate your mood, your behavior, and your focus. This is a recipe for exhaustion and mediocrity. But when you choose your battles wisely, you free yourself. You reclaim your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. You start directing your resources toward things that matter, your goals, your relationships, your self-improvement. The ancient Stoics were masters of this principle. They understood that while you cannot control how others treat you, you can control how you respond. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Choosing your battles doesn't mean being passive or weak. It means being strategic. It means saving your energy for fights that align with your values and goals. It means letting go of ego and focusing on the bigger picture. The next time someone disrespects you, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, does this matter in the grand scheme of things? Will responding to this improve my life or help me achieve my goals? Am I reacting out of ego, or am I choosing to act with purpose? Most of the time, you'll find that the best response is no response at all. Silence can be powerful. It shows that you're in control, that you refuse to be dragged down by petty behavior. Elias took Victor's advice to heart. The next time Marcus tried to provoke him, Elias didn't bite. He stayed calm, focused on his work, and let Marcus's comments slide. Over time, Marcus grew frustrated and eventually stopped his antics. Meanwhile, Elias's work spoke for itself, earning him a promotion. By choosing his battles, Elias reclaimed his power. He stopped wasting energy on someone who didn't matter and redirected it toward his growth. This is the power of choosing your battles. It's not about avoiding conflict entirely. It's about fighting the right fights, the ones that matter. It's about living with purpose and refusing to let trivialities derail you. Life will always throw challenges your way. Disrespect, criticism, and provocation are inevitable. But how you respond is up to you. Will you waste your energy on every slight, or will you rise above, choosing your battles with wisdom and intention? Remember this. You have the power to control your focus. You have the strength to rise above petty conflicts. Every time you choose restraint, every time you let go of unnecessary battles, you grow stronger. So stand tall, stay focused, and let your success speak for itself. Way number 7, seek wisdom. Learn from every encounter. Picture this. You're standing at the crossroads of failure and resilience. Someone has disrespected you, maybe even humiliated you. The pain burns like fire, and the instinct to lash out surges through your veins. But in this moment, you're not just facing disrespect, you're standing before one of life's greatest teachers. Will you succumb to anger, or will you rise and extract wisdom from the experience? To seek wisdom is to embrace the understanding that every encounter, even those rooted in disrespect, holds lessons that can shape your character, refine your actions, and propel you toward success. Wisdom doesn't come from comfort. It's forged in the fires of adversity, often born from the sting of rejection and the bite of disrespect. Your mission is clear. Don't let any experience pass you by without harvesting its lessons. Why is seeking wisdom from every encounter so critical? Because life doesn't always give you what you want, but it always gives you what you need to grow. Every insult, every challenge, every setback is an opportunity to learn. Not about them, but about yourself. What does this moment reveal about your emotional resilience? What does it teach you about patience, communication, or your personal values? You must take ownership. Blaming others for their behavior is easy. Anyone can point fingers. But the truly great, the truly wise, take responsibility for their reactions and extract every ounce of growth from life's challenges. To seek wisdom is to say, this situation may not be ideal, but I will make it meaningful. I will not let this moment pass without growing stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Let me tell you a story. A story about a woman named Sarah. Sarah was a young entrepreneur brimming with ambition. She had poured her heart into her startup, crafting an innovative product she was sure would revolutionize her industry. But her journey wasn't easy. One fateful day, Sarah pitched her idea to a panel of investors. She stood before them with confidence, detailing every aspect of her vision, her strategy, her passion. But as the presentation concluded, one investor leaned back, crossed his arms, and sneered. "This will never work," he said dismissively. "You're wasting our time." The words hit Sarah like a punch to the gut. Her throat tightened, her cheeks flushed, and tears threatened to spill. The disrespect was palpable, cutting deep into her sense of worth. She wanted to scream, to defend herself, to walk out in defiance, but she didn't. Instead, she took a deep breath and asked herself one powerful question. What can I learn from this? Sarah replayed the encounter in her mind, not with bitterness, but with curiosity. She analyzed the investor's critique. Was there truth in his words? Were there flaws in her pitch she hadn't noticed? Could she use this experience to sharpen her skills? Sarah realized that while the investor's delivery was harsh and disrespectful, some of his feedback had merit. Her presentation lacked a clear financial roadmap, something crucial to securing investor confidence. Instead of wallowing in anger, she got to work. She refined her pitch, addressed her weaknesses, and sought mentorship to fill gaps in her knowledge. Months later, Sarah landed a major investor who believed in her vision, and her startup flourished. But more importantly, Sarah grew. She learned to see rejection and disrespect not as personal attacks, but as opportunities to grow. She became unshakable, not by avoiding pain, but by embracing it and learning from it. When faced with disrespect, your first instinct might be to react. Resist that urge. Instead, take a moment to pause. Reflect on what happened. What triggered the disrespect? Was it a misunderstanding, an insecurity on their part, or perhaps a blind spot of your own? Reflection turns chaos into clarity. Disrespect often comes wrapped in emotional weight: anger, frustration, sadness. These emotions can cloud your judgment. Practice detachment. View the situation as an observer. Strip away the emotional charge and focus on the facts. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Sometimes disrespect is laced with valuable feedback. It might not be delivered kindly, but it can still be useful. Look beyond the tone and evaluate the content. If there's truth in the criticism, use it to grow. If there isn't, let it go. Wisdom often emerges through dialogue. Share your experience with someone you trust, a mentor, a friend, a colleague. Their perspective can help you see angles you might have missed. Sometimes what feels like disrespect is simply a miscommunication. Knowledge without action is meaningless. Once you've extracted the lessons, apply them. If the encounter revealed a weakness, address it. If it highlighted a strength, double down on it. Let every experience, good or bad, shape you into a more capable, resilient individual. The Stoics believed that wisdom was the highest virtue. For them, every encounter, every challenge, every insult was a chance to practice and deepen their understanding of life. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means that no matter how others treat you, the ultimate power lies within you. You control how you interpret and respond to their actions. Disrespect then becomes a tool, not to wound you, but to teach you. Seeking wisdom isn't passive, it's an active choice. It requires courage to face uncomfortable truths, discipline to analyze your actions, and humility to admit where you can improve. But the rewards are immense. Each lesson you learn builds a foundation of strength, resilience, and clarity. When you commit to seeking wisdom, you transform. You become someone who cannot be easily shaken, someone who grows stronger with every challenge. You stop being a victim of life's hardships and start becoming a master of them. So the next time someone disrespects you, pause. Don't react in anger or retreat in defeat. Instead, stand tall and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Extract every lesson, no matter how small. Let every encounter shape you, refine you, and make you wiser. Remember, life isn't about avoiding pain or disrespect. It's about using those experiences to become the person you're meant to be. Seek wisdom in every moment, and you'll discover a strength that no one can take away. We have more interesting videos about Stoicism and the way of life. If you want to watch a video about powerful Stoic habits, don't waste your life. Please click link above in the video. If you like the video, or you don't want to miss further videos about Stoicism, please subscribe. We will upload one video per week. Way number 8, walk away when necessary. Know when to cut ties. Walking away is not an act of surrender. It's a bold declaration of your worth. When faced with persistent disrespect, the most powerful response isn't to argue, retaliate, or endure. It's to step back, reevaluate, and if necessary, sever the connection entirely. Walking away requires clarity, strength, and a deep commitment to your own dignity. It's not easy, but it's essential. Let me tell you a story of courage in the face of betrayal and the ultimate decision to walk away. Julia was a bright, ambitious woman with a relentless drive to succeed. She worked tirelessly in a corporate environment where she believed her efforts would lead her to the top. But there was one obstacle in her path: her manager, Paul. Paul dismissed her ideas in meetings, took credit for her successes, and belittled her in front of colleagues. At first, Julia tried to rationalize his behavior. Maybe he's just stressed, she told herself. If I work harder, he'll see my value. And so Julia worked harder. She stayed late, taking on more projects than anyone else. Her results were stellar, yet the disrespect persisted. When she finally confronted Paul, hoping for resolution, he laughed and said, "You're too sensitive. You need to toughen up." That moment was Julia's breaking point. The dismissal of her humanity was undeniable, and she knew she had to make a choice. She could continue to endure this toxic dynamic or take control of her narrative. Walking away doesn't mean giving up too soon. It means recognizing when your values, time, and energy are being wasted on someone who doesn't respect them. In Julia's case, the turning point wasn't just about Paul's behavior. It was about her decision to stop tolerating it. When someone disrespects you repeatedly, they're showing you who they are. Pay attention. Respect isn't begged for or coerced. It's freely given in healthy relationships. If you find yourself constantly justifying someone else's actions or compromising your own peace to accommodate them, it's time to reassess. Walking away often feels like an emotional battlefield. You may feel guilt, fear, or even doubt your decision. These emotions are natural. You've invested time, energy, and possibly love into this connection, and severing it feels like tearing away a piece of yourself. But staying in a toxic environment or relationship only deepens the wounds. The longer you stay, the more you internalize the disrespect, eroding your self-esteem. Walking away is not abandonment, it's liberation. It's saying, I will no longer accept less than I deserve. Leaving isn't easy, especially when you've been conditioned to believe that enduring mistreatment is a sign of resilience. But true strength lies in choosing yourself. It lies in valuing your peace and self-worth above someone else's approval or presence. In Julia's case, the decision to leave her job was terrifying. What would happen to her career? How would she support herself? But as she sat down to update her resume, a wave of empowerment washed over her. She realized that staying in a toxic situation was costing her more than any financial insecurity ever could. Walking away doesn't have to be dramatic. It's not about burning bridges or seeking revenge. It's about exiting with your integrity intact. When Julia handed in her resignation, she did so without malice. She thanked her team for their support and expressed her excitement about the future. By walking away with grace, you demonstrate a level of composure and strength that speaks volumes. You're not just leaving the situation, you're rising above it. After leaving her toxic job, Julia found herself in an entirely new space, both literally and emotionally. She took a role at a company that valued her contributions and encouraged her growth. More importantly, she learned to prioritize her well-being over external validation. Walking away wasn't just about leaving Paul and the disrespect behind. It was about reclaiming her power and stepping into a future she controlled. Choosing to walk away sends a clear message. You are not afraid to lose what doesn't serve you. This isn't weakness. It's the ultimate act of self-respect. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control others' actions, but we can control our own choices. When you choose to walk away, you're asserting your control over your life. You're deciding that your peace is non-negotiable and that you'd rather be alone than surrounded by disrespect. Walking away doesn't happen overnight. It requires preparation, both mentally and practically. Understand what you will and won't tolerate. If those boundaries are crossed repeatedly, recognize that the relationship or situation has become untenable. Imagine a life without the toxic person or environment. Focus on the freedom and opportunities that await. Some people won't want to let you go, not because they value you, but because they thrive on control. Be ready to stand firm. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and reinforce your decision to prioritize your well-being. Imagine a phoenix. This majestic bird doesn't cling to the ashes of its old life, it rises from them. The act of walking away is your rebirth. You're shedding the weight of disrespect and stepping into your power. You are the phoenix. You are unstoppable. Walking away when necessary is one of the most challenging decisions you'll ever make. But it's also the most transformative. When you prioritize your self-respect, you'll find yourself stronger, freer, and more aligned with the life you deserve. Don't fear the act of leaving. Fear the consequences of staying. Take control. The power is yours. Till the next time, stay strong and live wisely.